This week on Case Studies with the Biz Doc, it's MoviePass. You asked for it, and I'm diving into it. We're going to do three things this week. Number one, I'm going to take you a little bit through the history of where they came from. Number two, I'm going to simplify all the stuff you may be hearing in the media lately, and it's bad news on top of bad news. And then I'm going to tell you why it happened. MoviePass, the subscription movie card that you stuck in your wallet and could go to movies on at an unbelievable discount compared to paying full price. Let's first dive into the history. It started in San Francisco, California, when these two guys, Stacy Spikes and Hammett Watt, got together with an idea to build the Netflix for movie theaters. They allegedly got 19,000 people to sign up in a single day, which is absolutely unbelievable. And when those people started going out to theaters, they found out a couple things. Some of the theaters didn't want to let them in because there was too many of them coming in on the highly discounted MoviePass rate versus the full price that the movie theater wanted people to pay. Big movies were coming out in 2011, such as one of my favorites, Moneyball. And if you've got a line of people up at the theater willing to pay $9.95 in San Francisco, why do you want to fill up your theater seats and say, I'm sold out, to a bunch of people using a MoviePass card getting a discounted ticket? This was the beginning of the tension that MoviePass would face with the theater chains. Now let's talk about this just for a second. You know, when you think about digital transformations, and I'm going to talk about this at the end of the case study, you think about things like a subscription to Netflix, a subscription to music, which is a subscription to Spotify or Pandora. And so you are no longer paying full price for all your individual music titles on Pandora or Spotify or Sirius or XM satellite radio, and then they got married and became Sirius XM. You paid one price, but it was a pretty hefty price. Don't know if you remember, but in your car, it was usually about $25 a month or $300 a year for Sirius XM. That's what I paid. And when you balance that out, you're saying to yourself, well, I'm paying $300 and I'm getting an awful lot of music, but I am paying $300. In this case, MoviePass was highly discounted. Now, their initial plans would then move up as they launch a beta. And a beta, as I've indicated before, is nothing more than a test that a few people are a part of. In this case, by invitation only. And they were paying anywhere at that time from like $25 to $40, so it was a fairly healthy price, similar to Sirius satellite radio or the initial subscriptions for those kind of things, where you feel like you are paying for value, you're not just getting it for free. And so the early years of MoviePass kind of went like this. And we come to 2014. Now, 2014 was one of the worst years on record for box office. So AMC is sitting there going, hey guys, this is a pretty crappy year for box office. Maybe we should think about this MoviePass thing and bring them in here and see if we can get a few customers, because at this point, discounted tickets are better than no tickets at all. That was the original premise of MoviePass that they were selling. So nonetheless, at the end of 2014, AMC suddenly makes like a Catholic prom date and says, okay, I'll do it. That led to the beginning of a major chain really embracing MoviePass. Now, behind the scenes, there was tension in the relationship because people still weren't too sure about it. Also, Cinemark, AMC, Pacific Theaters, and others had their own issues because with box office down, you and me not going to the theater as much, or maybe quality movies not being out there as much, and that was the two-sided argument that was being made. The theaters were saying, you're making not the greatest movies anymore, and you're not putting enough marketing into them. And then the studios are saying, well, the tickets are very expensive. Well, they said, well, whose fault is that? So you had this tension going back and forth. Meanwhile, America was getting used to streaming services like Netflix and big plasma TVs that had crashed under $1,000 and saying, screw it, I'll sit right here at home and watch a movie. And so we get to the next chapter of MoviePass history. Now, I've left out a lot of the little points and everything because how they got there and where they came from is not nearly important as what is about to happen, especially in the name of subscription and in the name of digital conversion, of which I'm going to explain that MoviePass was not a digital conversion, it was actually a marketing tactic. Nonetheless, as little companies try to become big ones, what do? Go find some adults in the room that can help you, especially if they've been other places and they understand the playing field, and they can bring you some knowledge from that playing field. In end of 16, enter Mitch Lowe, who had come from Redbox and Netflix. What a great resume. We got this guy who's over at Redbox, which you would see outside of Walmart and Target and places like that to rent DVDs on the fly. And he was also at Netflix, which was in the middle of disrupting streaming, and you and I were getting used to those subscriptions after the transition away from Netflix and the mail order DVD. Within a month of him coming, they announced tiers where you could get 2, 3, or 4 movies a month for your subscription fee, and even a $100 tier that would also get you into 3D movies. Now, why is that important? Because during this early chapter with 3D movies, theaters would say, okay, I'll work with you, MoviePass, but you're not getting into the 3D movie. People are paying $24 and they're getting the glasses and they're going to watch the 3D movies. So there was this tension back and forth, kind of like if you have a credit card and you get a zillion miles on it and you tried to use it with an airline, you discovered blackout dates. All of that came together because what they're saying is, with all those free credit card points, I'm only going to let you go for free so many places, so many times. Guess what? It was the same thinking that the movie theaters had that says, look, you can't use it on Memorial Day weekend during a grand opening of the latest Mission Impossible movie, but you can use it during these windows here, but you can't use it for 3D. It was nothing more than this tension going back and forth, leading to some of the early MoviePass customers to saying, well, what am I buying and where can I go? So there you have it. Mitch Lowe arrives in the middle of 16. By the end of 16, in December, multiple reports, now remember, this is a private company, so sometimes you don't know who to believe, and you just kind of listen to the stats and you use what you got. They had indicated they had reached 20,000 subscribers. And there were also some unlimited plans that were out there that were making a lot of attention. As a matter of fact, when an unlimited plan was announced and they dropped the price to $9.95, that's where the new and exciting history of MoviePass came to be. Now, when I say exciting, I mean like going downhill with bald tires on an icy road. It's that kind of exciting. They dropped the price to $9.95 and they keep Unlimited in the mix. At $9.95, AMC says, I'm out. I'm ceasing our relationship. You're cut off. We're canceling the contract legally within our rights because we don't think at $9.95 that you can make a compelling business out of that we would be happy to be selling discounted seats to. Also, they attracted the attention of an analytics firm named Helios and Matheson. And Helios and Matheson came in with the one thing that MoviePass really needed at this time, and that was money. They came in and invested an assortment of chunks of money, and again, it's a private company, so you only have the announcements you hear, and you never know whether those are being amplified to make things sound groovy or are being absolutely correct about the amount that was being raised. Well, nonetheless, they claim they came in and when they got there, they owned about 62%. They said between December and February, they invested $55 million. And by the way, there were reputable reports coming out of MoviePass, apparently, that Helios and Matheson was losing $20 million a month on this service. Well, it was partly because they did the discount subscription, but they then had the contract rate that they had to pay the theaters. That's called breakage, and I'm going to get into that in just a minute. They invested another $35 million, and you can see Pac-Man here, and they were all in. By the time these investments were done, it was revealed that Helios and Matheson actually owned 92% of MoviePass. Guess what? So MoviePass is basically subsumed into Helios and Matheson, and the stock, you could look on the stock market for Helios and Matheson, basically was MoviePass, because now they're the same company because one owns the other. It's like you getting married and you and your spouse now are one. You own the house together, you own the car together, you own the debt together. For better, for worse, you are together and you are one legal unit. Well, that's what happened here. Now Helios and Matheson became the ticker everybody would go to look at to say, how's MoviePass doing? And they would enter that ticker. So with all this going on, there is a lot of numbers on the board, and this is where all that frothy news coverage was coming from. Hey, we're at 1 million subs. We're at 2 million subs from December to February. We're dropping it to $7.95. We're going to get rid of unlimited plan. No, wait, we're keeping it. We're keeping it. We're going to bring it back. And to the point that July 26th to 28th of 2018, a 3-day shutdown. Everything stops. Some people were saying, oh, it's a crash because of their success. That may have been the case. Some people were saying, well, they have to scale the business. They have to build better infrastructure, especially on the app, because the app was locking up. That may be the case. But the greater leaks were coming from theater chains that were saying, I need to get paid. And so what did they do? They went out and got $1.2 billion just to stay in operations. And there was people in the industry that were saying, this isn't sustainable. That $1.2 billion, if that's a real amount, is just to barely keep them afloat. And with all these numbers and all the stuff going on, there's only one word for that, and that is damn. I mean, damn it, as in bad. Where are they going to go to get a profitable business model out of this? And this is exactly what I want to take you to, because that's what we've all been hearing. And we've all heard about the stock for Helios and Matheson was at 8 cents. They did a reverse split. A reverse split means they took shares off the stock market at 8 cents each and caused the price to go up. So if your stock is 8 cents and you buy back half of them, now it's 16 cents because there's only half as many. They did it to pump the stock price back up to $100 or more. And then guess what? It came right back to 7 cents. To the point today, the net enterprise value of MoviePass today, 2018, is barely $4 million. Now, how did that happen? Number one, they had a broken business model. Number two, somewhere along the way, they thought they should be financing movies instead of staying in their focus and selling a marketing distribution product, which is MoviePass. They actually funded a movie, the Gotti movie starring John Travolta, which tried really hard and managed to score a 0 point on Rotten Tomatoes. Man, you gotta work at making a bad movie to get an absolute 0 on Rotten Tomatoes. And worse, at the time it was released, remember, this is all happening this summer. I mean, just draw a line from April of 2018 to August of 2018, and all of this nutty stuff that's been happening in the media was happening together. It was exposed that they were actually buying tickets to their own movie, but people wouldn't go to the theater and see it. So in other words, they bought tickets so they could say, oh, we've had box office this weekend of a couple million here, a couple million there or something. But in reality, there were nobody in the theaters watching that. They bought the tickets through the systems. And there were multiple people in the industry and at rival studios, and you would expect rival studios to say things like that, but so many people were saying the same thing with such conviction, and the leaks were also coming through the theater companies themselves, that it was concluded, man, they made a turd of a movie, and they were using their own system to go in there and try to buy tickets to make it look like people are actually attending. With that said, let me take you through to what they were and what they weren't. And there's some important lessons in here for you and me, and I hope to give you a window into what happened here. First of all, let's talk about what they weren't. No, they're not a digital transformation. There is nothing unique about going to your mobile phone and being able to buy something. Heck, Fandango and all those other movie retailers allowed you to buy a ticket right on your phone, get a barcode, go to the movie theater. Just like you could buy a plane ticket or everything else. There's no digital transformation or unrivaled technology never before seen. So they're not a disruptor with technology, and it's not a digital transformation like streaming was. That was transformative, streaming high-definition movies into your home. This is not. But what were they? At the end of the day, I see them as a marketing innovation. And they tried to take a page out of the cellular playbook. Now, why do I say that? Well, because I know something about it, because I helped rewrite part of the history books in cellular. There is a thing where you subscribe, get breakage, and create new demand. Let me explain what that is. You subscribe to a mobile phone. It's $50 a month, and you used to get so many minutes and so many text messages, etc. Some people use them all up, and they have to pay overages above $50. 2 cents a text message, $10 for another gigabyte of data, all that. You've done it, I've done it. And then there are people, like my sister, who don't use their full plan. And if you really added it up, maybe they use $38 worth of it. Well, she uses $38, but she pays $50, just like I do. And that difference of $12, they call that breakage. In other words, that's positive breakage for Verizon or AT&T or Sprint or any of the wireless phone companies around the world. But there's also, they create new demand. But they always create new demand on the second phone. What I mean by that is if you go around the US and pick a phone carrier and you get your $60 plan, then you pay $15 for your spouse or maybe one of your kids for a second phone. So the discount comes on the second phone, not the first phone. So they understand that. What MoviePass did initially, they thought that, $9.95, we're going to get positive breakage. And people are going to buy concessions. They're going to buy popcorn. They're going to do things like that. They're going to pay $6 for a soda. All the things you and I normally do when we go to a theater. Now, the theater operator argues, well, those people are going to come in there and do it anyway, whether they're on a discounted MoviePass ticket or they're paying full price. Okay, but what MoviePass was thinking is that for $10 a month, that you would probably, some months, not go to the theater at all. Wait a minute. $10 is less than what a ticket would be in New York. New York ticket would be like $13.95. So if I use my MoviePass card once in New York, I technically got a $4 discount on the ticket. And the number of people that actually completely use their MoviePass cards, the breakage wasn't there. So in other words, instead of maybe half the people not using up their MoviePass $9.95 or whatever it was that month, they got creamed. In addition to mobile phones, there's another proxy that was out there. Do you remember coupon books? High school or junior high would say, hey, we're raising money for the high school band or junior high soccer team. And they would come and try to sell you a coupon book for about $15 or $20. In it were coupons all over the city for pizza and all these shops and things you would go to. Some of them were quite useful and would be a pretty good coupon because they're trying to create demand. Once, use the coupon, discover a new store, try pizza out at a different place, and you say, well, hey, that was worth it. And you paid $20 and you got more than that value if you kept using the coupon books and going to new and interesting places. So you can see whether it's the cellular industry or it's old coupon books, there were a lot of proxies that were out there. One of the things they failed to understand, as I have right here, they miscalculated demand. Free beer effing works. And that's what happened with all these people with the MoviePass cards. However, as we go along, there was also some learnings that happened because there was some good that came out of MoviePass. We learned that you and me would buy a subscription. That's a positive point. The economics of which were kind of broken by the time you got discounted all to here, causing AMC to say, screw you, I'm out of here. But when it comes down to it, it actually worked. How do we know that? Well, because people like AMC and Cinemark had calculators that worked. And about the same time this year, the Empire Strikes Back. AMC announces the Stubbs A-List, and Cinemark announces Movie Club. Both of them starting at $20 a month with some very reasonable to understand restrictions about first open movies. And that makes you and I happy to have a product that we see value in that's predictable. And instead of unbelievable value, we get, oh, that's pretty good value. I'll be willing to pay $20 a month because I have an AMC down the street that I really, really like. And we go there at least once or twice a month. So you know what? That's a good product for me. Instead, down here, the product value was so unbelievable, it's like announcing free beer at a frat party. You're gonna run the keg dry. That's the MoviePass story as I see it. I'm not sure they're going to be around too much longer unless they get a really big truckload of money. And I don't think it would have had to be this way because if they have followed some fairly recent business history, I think there's lessons could be learned and they'd have a really strong business model. That's what I think, but I want to know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts on MoviePass are. Leave some comments down below. You can also let me know what companies you'd like to see me do a case study in the future, because this one, MoviePass, was a suggestion from you. You can find me also on social media at Tom Ellsworth for Facebook and Twitter, or ellsworth.thomas at Instagram, and I'm just Thomas Ellsworth over at LinkedIn. Please subscribe to Valuetainment for these case studies and more, because we're on a mission to get to 1 million subscribers. And when we do, the first annual Valuetainment Entrepreneur Conference, featuring yours truly, the Biz Doc, hosted by Patrick Bet-David, and other entrepreneurs and experts that are going to help make you better, your business better, and the people you touch better still. Until next time, I'm Tom Ellsworth, the Biz Doc, and I hope I left you better than I found you.